Well, Mr. Davis, as a child, was sickly, and he didn't like his medicine. You know, back then there wasn't any cherry-flavored medicine or, you know, Flintstone vitamins. So there was, he didn't like to take his medicine. Mr. Davis was 7 years old in 1894 when his father gave him his first gun. Mr. Davis had been wanting this gun from his father, but his dad thought he was a little too young to have a weapon like that. Well, Mr. Davis, as a child, was sickly, and he didn't like his medicine. You know, back then there wasn't any cherry-flavored medicine or, you know, Flintstone vitamins. So there was, he didn't like to take his medicine. So his dad did some things like we all used to do when our kids were small. We bribed him. He bribed him to take his medicine. He said, if you will take your medicine regularly, I will buy you that .410 shotgun you were looking at. Mr. Davis did. His health improved. And this is the rifle that his dad bought for him in 1894. It's still flint action with a little bowl that you have to put the powder in, cock the hammer, and all that stuff. But this was his very first weapon, and that started all of this. This is our oldest gun. This is from China, approximately 1350. And most of you know guns were sort of invented about 1290. So this is pretty close to what the first weapon looked like. You would put the shrapnel in the front. Wasn't any ammunition in those days. Sharp rocks, glass, things like that would go in the front. In the back, they would pack it with the powder. And then up here in the top, you can see a little hole where they'd have a wire wick and they would light it, and then it would explode. It's the same concept like a Roman candle in 4th of July. So this is our oldest weapon, approximately 1350. The markings on it are, of course, Chinese, and it's from north central China. I can't pronounce the name of the town, but on there it says this is used by the militia of that city. So sorta, it would be like the police department. Okay. Now over here, that's his first weapon. This is his last weapon he collected. Mr. Davis collected this ball and cap pistol about 20. Let's see, about 30 or 40 years after he died, he collected this. And here's how that happened. This man, Robert McHolland, lived in Springfield, Missouri. He had relatives in Claremore. He would ride the train, get off the train, and visit his relatives in Claremore. Well, you get off the train, you're right by this big hotel, and he walked in, liked the artifacts, the weapons, and all this that was displayed in the hotel. And so he struck up a conversation and a friendship with Mr. Davis. Well, Mr. McHolland goes off to war and becomes a captain in the Army. And so he said, he wrote a letter back home, and he said, I found this old ball and cap pistol as I was walking across France. And when I get home, I'm going to give it to the mayor of Claremore. Well, fortunately, right after that, that was the last letter he wrote home. He was killed in battle in Germany. So the Army took up all his belongings and mailed it back home to Springfield. One of his relatives saw this pistol, took it, put it exactly in that frame, and had it on his wall of his office in Springfield, Missouri. Well, that relative died in, I think, in 2012. And another relative wanted that pistol. He'd seen it all his life, and he said that Robert McHolland was his favorite uncle. When he would come and visit him, he was about 6 or 7 years old during the war, and he said, Robert McHolland would come, and he would bring me bags of candy, and he would wrestle with me. So a 6, 7-year-old boy, somebody wrestling with you and pounding candy down you, that's, you know, pretty fun stuff. So he really wanted that. But he read the letter. This is a copy of the letter that they get. He says, give it to the Claremore mayor. What in the world does that mean? Well, he went on the city of Claremore's website, and guess who the mayor was during World War II? It was J.M. Davis. J.M. Davis was our longest serving mayor. He served 12 years. So he felt that he should fulfill his uncle's last wish and provide the last weapon in Mr. Davis' collection, although he'd been dead for over 30, 40 years. So that's some of the stories with the weapons. That's what makes working at this place and looking around here just so exciting. The stories that go with these weapons are just fabulous.
If you like what we do here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to check out one of our 4 weekly live shows. And finally, if you want to help support the channel, you can do that by shopping CloverTac.com or through Patreon.com/CloverTac.